Hey everybody, this is Party-Wolf, and this will be my Mixbox review for Soul Calibur 6. So, some history for you guys. I've been a pad player since Soul Calibur 5. I started playing seriously in 2013, and I played on an Xbox 360 controller. And then eventually, in like a couple years later, when the PS4 came out, I switched over to a DualShock 4, just the standard controller for PS4. And then recently, since Christmas, so about 7 months ago, I've been playing on the Mixbox, and it's honestly the best controller that I can think of that I'd want to play fighting games on. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about basically the benefits of the Mixbox for this game. I'm also going to be going over what I don't like about the Mixbox, and it's a very short list, but so I will be getting that out of the way at the beginning. But overall, like for every character, your movement should look a lot cleaner, just because you're not going to muddy up your directions with diagonal inputs by like fat fingering at all. Because all you have to do to not get diagonals is you just don't interact with your middle finger. So if you want back forward motions, it's super simple, because you just don't move your middle finger. You just move your ring finger and index finger, and it's not a lot of range of motion. That's really the key here, is range of motion. How much do I have to move my hand in order to make the input work? And that's basically what this video is going to be doing, is going over all that. So characters that I'm not going to be going over, just because it's rather pointless, is Aswell, Xianghua, Maxi, Yoshimitsu, Kilik, Gro, Talon, Mitsurugi, Geralt, Tira, Sungmina, and 2B. Just because they don't really have anything intensive when it comes to their directional inputs, so there's really no reason to go over it. But everybody else, there is a reason. So we're gonna start the video with what I dislike, and it's going to be this is gonna be for Nightmare as well, essentially. But I don't like playing Siegfried on an Xbox, and I will show you why I do not like playing Siegfried on an Xbox, and it's really just because of one move that he has. So the reason I don't like playing Siegfried is because doing AGA on arcade stick is the worst feeling for me. Mainly because doing this as fast as possible feels like it's so much more muscle movement than playing on a pad. On a pad, I can just like slide my thumb and index finger just a little bit by going from square to X and then pressing R1 with my index finger. But on an arcade stick, it's like it's really awful for me. I know some people have like some button binds here, so they can just slide across. So maybe it's easier if you do it that way, but personally, I don't have that set up. So I really just don't like even playing this character on any form of arcade stick, just because I don't think it's the easiest. I will say that A slide B is not too hard to do, but it's not the easiest either. And I don't think that really changes whether you're playing on a pad or not. But yeah, AGA, really don't like it on arcade buttons. However, like I said, every character should feel easier to move around with, so that may be enough for you to outweigh playing on a pad. And then Nightmare's the same thing. He has the same just frame. And then this character is like, I kind of don't like using him for one move, but everything else is very good. And I'll explain that very momentarily. So basically, his command grabs are like really good on the Mixbox because they're just quarter circles. So you can do quarter circle back, quarter circle forward, and the input's very simple and easy to get the just frame. The one that I have trouble with is down up just frame, just because you kind of have to like place your middle finger on like the what do you call this, the crevice between the two buttons, and that feels really awkward to do in like a neutral situation just to get the just frame motion. I'm doing an okay job there, but it still feels like really awkward to me. So sometimes what I do is I will like adjust my hand to have 2 fingers on it if I know that I need the command grab, and it's really more of a combo thing than like a neutral thing anyways, so it's probably not even a big deal overall, but it's still a little pet peeve of mine. Like, you have plenty of time to like shift your hand for after like a 2-2B combo in Soul Charge, so I think it'll be okay if you feel like doing that. So that's Astaroth. And that's everything I don't like about the Mixbox on our Soul Calibur 6. So that list is already done. And we will be going on to Sophitia. So Sophitia basically is the the character that wave dashes a lot in this game. So doing core circle forwards is so important on this character. Just because she needs to do that to get the stabs. So she has the regular stab, which is a core circle forward. You can't just frame it like that. And like, I think it's really hard to mess up core circle forwards on the Mixbox. So it's very good. And then she has a double core circle forward stab. No just frame on the motion for it, but still, having the ability to do them quickly is very nice. Repeated wave dashes can be really hard for me on my second player side, just because I have to start using my ring finger. And when you start, you'll notice when you start using a Mixbox or a hitbox, your ring finger is not very developed compared to your middle finger and your index finger. So you'll end up getting really sore very quickly at the beginning. So that's just something to be aware of, and this character will be good for the exercise, but if you're trying to pick up and play her for the first time, getting your ring finger to not explode when you're playing is going to be a challenge. But overall, Sophitia is much easier on a Mixbox just because you're not messing up. You're really just never messing up the core circle forwards once you have it practiced. And then the next character we'll be talking about is Ivy. So Ivy's an interesting case because I hate playing her no matter what controller I'm using. Just because the inputs for her throws are so silly. I know there's like cheat inputs. I don't know them personally. Because I never bothered learning them. But basically, these are her throw inputs. So you can see how they would be troublesome to learn, but like I can do them on the Mixbox, but I don't think it's like suddenly easier. So like I think it's really more of a pick your poison sort of thing. Plus, but doing the CS is, you can do it as slow as you want, and the game stores your input on the motion for a while, like that. So I wouldn't even like stress doing it very quickly. There is like a just frame version of this where you do it like obnoxiously quickly, which I don't think I can do. I do it sometimes, but not enough to get it like consistently. So, oh, there you go. But yeah. That's Ivy, the Ivy section. I really don't like playing her on anything that I use her for. But, you know, it's definitely possible. Definitely possible to play on an Xbox Ivy. And then Cervantes. This character is so easy on a Mixbox to do his just frame. And it's very important that you do his just frame, because if you don't, you basically hurt yourself every time. And I'll show you why in a second. So basically, if you mess up this just frame, you get this move, and it's super slow and it's unsafe. But if you do it quickly, you get that, and it's a really sick whiff punish and combo filler. And it's honestly just not difficult to do on a Mixbox. Like, I don't play Cervantes either, but it's like, you know, it's so lenient and simple. So yeah, that's Cervantes on a Mixbox, basically, more or less.
Welcome to the stage of history.
And then we have Taki. So Taki, you want to learn a half circle forward input on her. In half circle forwards on a Mixbox, you basically just roll your fingers across like your cartoon character that's mad at the world and like finger rolling the table and pouting. So you basically just do that. And this is important because she has unblockable resets where you want to do this move. You still have to like time how fast you do it, because as you can see, I did the half circle forward perfectly, but because I inputted it too quickly, the buffer system didn't read it properly. And that's really the issue of using this character on the Mixbox, is getting the timing down on when you're supposed to actually press half circle forward, and then you can get that unblockable reset, and it's very good. But actually doing the half circle forward input is not a challenge. The challenge comes in your timing of the input, and that's something I've never practiced, so yeah. But if you do practice it, it should be not too hard on an Xbox. And then Raphael. Raphael is like basically the dopest character to play on a Mixbox, because everything that's hard with him is optimized on a Mixbox. Like none of his just frames are annoying on it. And because he's so reliant on back forward inputs, the Mixbox is basically perfect for it, because like I said, as long as you don't press your middle finger, you can do all these 4-6 inputs perfectly, and they're very important for Raphael because they are his lethal condition. If you whip punish with any of these moves on certain attacks, depending, like they basically correlate with the button. So they whip a B move, it leaflets if you do the B version, an A move, it'll leaflet with the A version. And that's very good for him. So if you're like moving around and when you want to do back forward inputs, it's like very easy on a Mixbox. He also has core circle back just frames and core circle forward just frames that are simple. His combo fillers require back forward inputs, but similar to Taki, they require timing. So even if you do the back forward perfectly like that, I'm not like stance transitioning properly because I'm not timing it properly. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you're like moving around and like you're trying to whip punish with these moves, it's very reliable on a Mixbox. So I think Raphael is super sick playing on this thing. And the next character we're going over is Voldo. So basically, with Voldo, he has a triple forward input that is important for whip punishing with, because if you whip punish with it, you get a leaflet. And I think it's it's much easier to use it on a Mixbox, because if you're playing on a pad, right, you have to use your thumb and like press down on that. And your thumb isn't like mechanically designed to rapidly press on things as much as your index finger is. So if you're like walking around and then you want to do triple forward B, it's honestly much easier on this. Because normally the failed input is forward B, 6-6 B, and you get that clap. But if you're losing out on a lot of damage, because if you whip punish with the triple forward version, you get a leaflet. So it's definitely worth it, without question. And then, you know, if you were on the second player side, how can I get on the second player side with this character? Here we go. You'd be using your ring finger. So as I said earlier, for Sophitia, you really want to develop those ring finger muscles and like mind to hand connection, so that you can whip punish flawlessly with 6-6-B with Voldo. So I think it's much easier on Mixbox to play Voldo. And then the last character is Amy, and Amy's basically everything we're going to talk about. Amy is going to be everything I talked about with Voldo and Raphael. She just has back forward inputs and a 6-6 input, but her back forward input is specifically for a block punish, and if you do it correctly, you get a leaflet. And it can be kind of hard to react to moves and do back forward inputs on other devices, to me, when I can just, you know, press ring finger, index finger, B, and then get my leaflets every single time. So I think that's much easier. And then she has a triple forward input. Not much to talk about here. Anything I talked about here is, you know, Voldo section. But yeah. So basically, that's my Mixbox review. These characters I listed are easier Only thing that's a little bit harder is doing like Siegfried just frames, and that one Astaroth just frame that's not too important. But so I think the pros like far outweigh the cons because you're gonna get cleaner movement and your execution overall is gonna get cleaner. So maybe not for Ivy though. Maybe not for Ivy. With Ivy, I would just say do whatever you're comfortable with. Like if you already get her on pad, I don't think you're gonna find like an insane boost on anything else. So that's really all I have to say about the Mixbox. I really like this thing. I play on it all the time. It's the best. So that's my Mixbox review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was useful.